What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. Now, today's video is a special one because for the first time ever on an Entitled Parents video, we have video evidence of the actual event happening. In our first story today, an entitled kid gets so angry at his teacher, chucks a trash can on the floor, and ultimately ends up trying to strangle one of his classmates. But of course, the amazing thing about this story is that it's all on video. So after getting through the story, I'll be showing you that content. The time an entitled kid in my class tried to choke a classmate. Okay, so this happened in 2018. I was in 7th grade. I have a lot of stories about that year and how a lot of teachers quit. The teacher that was in this situation had quit due to this event and many other incidents. So this all happened because an entitled kid in my class was giving our teacher a hard time by annoying her and doing a Jeffrey impression at her. SML was popular at school at the time, and just generally being disruptive. The teacher had had enough and said, "Go to the office. I'm done with you making my job any harder than it needs to be." Now, at the time, I was watching this all go down. The entitled kid got mad and decided to dump a trash can onto the floor, and then started yelling at the teacher about her being a female dog. Then he saw a classmate laughing at a video on his phone. The entitled kid was fuming. He yelled at him, saying, and I quote, "You better shut it before I beat your butt." And he went over to him and started to strangle him. Long story short, it took a teacher and a student to get the kid off of him. When they did, the entitled kid was actually punched in the nose and then expelled. Now, the reason I'm telling you all this is because my friend sent a video of the fight and said, "Remember this?" I can show you the video if you all want to see it. But yeah, that year was crazy. Alright then, guys, so probably I think for the first time ever in one of my Entitled Parents videos, we've actually got a video attached to a story to react to. Let's get into this. Alright then, so here is the video. As you can see, entitled kid fight uncensored. Let's get into this. I think it's the... Okay. I think it's the guy in the yellow, right? The luminous yellow. Hunter. It's just going mental. And then it all just kicks off. What? I'm not sure about the videoing.
Oh my god.
But yeah. There we go. Okay then. Yeah, not really too sure what was going on there, but it looked like it was a lot of fun to video. To be fair, the guy's reaction when he's videoing, like, oh my god, what am I seeing here? Obviously, he's in class. He can't just rapidly pull out his phone and video everything because, you know, that's not normally allowed. But yeah, I think we could hear that Hunter was getting pretty angry. And I also heard a pretty big bang. I think that might have been when he threw the trash on the floor. But yeah, choking a kid in school. Not the best idea, is it? Oh, and by the way, guys, for those of you that are asking about the goat video, if you know about the goat video, if you know, you know. It's from a long time ago. It just doesn't exist. I would love to say that the entitled mum goat video is coming soon or whatever, but I've spoken to the guy who's involved in the situation, and he's told me that he's just not going to release the video. So I'm sorry to tell you guys, I don't think that video is going to be out anytime soon. Alright then, moving on to our second story of today's video. Unfortunately, this one doesn't have a video to react to, but I did enjoy that first one. Entitled mum wants to prevent me from becoming a doctor because I pointed out her son's possible disability. I know the title sounds like I'm the butthole at first, but please, hear me out. So, as one can tell by my name, which by the way is Mediocre Med Student 1, I'm a med student. A couple of months ago, my flatmate went abroad for a year. She'd been tutoring a boy in English and German. We're German. And the boy's mother asked her if she knew anybody who could replace her while she was gone. As I've done some tutoring before, and I'm fairly good at English and German, my flatmate asked me, and I agreed. When I started, the mother asked me if I could also tutor her son in maths. They used to have another tutor for that, but she'd moved cities recently. I'm not particularly good at maths, but the boy's only in 5th grade, 10, 11 years old in Germany, so I said I'd give it a go. However, it became frustrating very quickly. At first, I was seriously wondering how he even made it to the 5th grade. He couldn't even do basic addition. I could tell fairly quickly that it definitely wasn't due to lack of will or laziness. He simply couldn't understand numbers at all. For example, they were learning about fractions at the time, and he couldn't envision at all what the difference was between 2/3 and 3/2. I'd heard about dyscalculia before, so I did some tests with him, like asking him to tell time on an analog clock. He he was unable to, making him solve a list of addition and subtraction problems in which each was repeated 3 or 4 times, different results for all of them. Asking him to tell me which of 2 numbers is larger, he was mostly unable to, etc. I was honestly wondering how neither his parents nor his teachers had ever noticed anything. I didn't want to keep getting money for a job I couldn't do, so I sat his mother down after a tutoring session and explained to her that her son has such massive issues in maths that I'm in no way qualified to help him. I said that he shows a lot of signs of dyscalculia, and while I'm not a professional, and that doesn't mean he has it, I'd suggest having him checked by a professional and organising a professional tutor, not some med student who knows nothing about teaching kids with more serious troubles in school. And instead of being grateful that I told her this, she got angry. She told me, and I quote, "Get your freaking shoes and get the F out of my house." When I asked her what I did, she almost screamed that she would not tolerate strangers telling her that her son was dim-witted or stupid, and that this was a normal and honourable family. I tried to explain to her that I was saying the total opposite of that, because her son having that condition would be nobody's fault, and that he just needs specialised help, which is anything but dishonourable. That's when she started threatening to call the head of my university, because someone like me would be totally unfit to treat patients if I call all of them idiots, and that an arrogant dog like me shouldn't be let loose in a hospital. I knew she couldn't realistically do anything, but it still hurt to hear. I didn't reply anymore at that point, and I just took my things and left. I haven't actually heard from her again, or from my uni for that matter, but I do feel very sorry for her son, because it doesn't seem like she'll get him the help he needs. Very interesting one. I mean, surely this has to be a pride thing on the mother's behalf, because there's no way that she doesn't know what's going on. I mean, if a kid literally can't tell what number's bigger out of 2 numbers, then there's something that's clearly wrong there. And I also don't think that it's the school's fault at all. I'm sure that, any teacher would see this problem almost immediately and definitely bring it up with the parents. They're not going to say, you know what, I'm going to leave this under the carpet and we'll just teach normally. A normal teacher, any teacher would never do that. So I reckon the teachers have told the parents what's going on here, and that it's almost guaranteed that their son does have some form of disability. Not sure exactly which one it is, but there's clearly something that's going on there. And I think, to be honest, it's more than likely that the mother is just, too proud or too stubborn or too negligent to say, you know what, we're going to do something about this, and wants her kid to be, completely normal and just carry on with normal education in a normal classroom. It's really sad to see that this kid is not going to get the help he needs, because clearly he needs the help. And he's not, dim-witted, lazy, he's a hard worker, but he's being let down by his mum in this situation. It's crazy. And now moving on to our third story. Who's laughing now? I was working in an assisted living facility. People who can't really live alone, but are mostly independent, as a resident care specialist, RCS, a step below a certified nursing assistant. It was well below my skill sets. I'm formerly a nurse and a paramedic, now with a degree in business administration, but I wasn't sure if I was going to stay in the Midwest or move back to the East Coast, and I needed a job. One night, I was working with the facility manager's daughter. She thought she was Queen Bee. She'd been caught stealing facility linens and food and treating the residents poorly, etc. in the past, and nothing was done because she was the facility manager's daughter. The special unit required a staff member at all times. The rest of the staff could roam from unit to unit at night. There were 4 units total. The building was like a big squared off U. Well, of course, she assigned me to the special unit. It was just the 2 of us for the 10 PM to 6 AM shifts. The special unit had a panic button in case that staff member needed assistance in a hurry. As you can guess, poop hit the fan that night. Literally. One resident trailed poop from his bed to my desk to tell me he had an accident. While I was tending to him, another resident threw up all over my desk, paperwork, computer keyboard, my phone, everything. Another resident fell out of bed, and on it went all night. It must have been a full moon that night or something. I hit the panic button several times, and she was nowhere to be found. At turnover in the morning, I was explaining all of this to the staff nurse, and Queen Bee just sat there, laughing. I found out a few days later she'd been sleeping the whole night, and a resident had to wake her up because the buzzer from the panic button had woken him up. She laughed at him and said something about me being initiated and trial by fire and went back to sleep. The dog. Fast forward a month, and I've been promoted to Resident Care Director, RCD, of the whole facility. She quit shortly after my promotion. A week or so later, I received a phone call from the RCD of another facility on the other side of my city. He asked for a referral for Queen Bee. I told him that our company policy wouldn't allow for me to give a favourable or unfavourable reference. I could only confirm that she'd been employed as a RCS and held the state's required certification. He kept trying to get me to either give my endorsement or not. I simply repeated that our company's policy would not allow me to give either a favourable or unfavourable reference, and she should be happy that it doesn't. He thoroughly understood what I was saying, and she didn't get the job. The nurse that I gave turnover to after that shift from heck was in the room with me during the phone call, and we both laughed longer and harder than Queen Bee did that morning at shift change. Very clever stuff. That is how to give a little review of somebody without, technically giving them a review. Good stuff, because let's be realistic. Yeah, this woman did not deserve a job. I know she was trying to do some silly initiation stuff, but ultimately you're dealing with people that need your care and you're paid to provide care for them. She was not doing that, and therefore genuinely, and I don't think this is over the top to say, putting these people's lives in danger. What if one of them, had a heart attack and OP was dealing with something else, on the other side of the ward, and this girl, Queen Bee, is just sleeping there? Nah, I think that's very dangerous stuff with old people. You gotta be careful with these people. It's disgusting, I've gotta say. Anyway, guys, that is gonna do it for this episode of r/Entitled Parents. I really hope you guys enjoyed the first story specifically. If you want me to try and find more videos, with stories to react to, just to change it up a little bit, and we can actually see the entitled parents, doing their stuff, or the entitled kid in this situation, rather than just hearing about them, let me know, because that's something that I definitely want to do more of. So yeah, if you want to see more of that, drop a like, comment, and also subscribe to the channel. See you in a bit.